Thanks everybody for joining us. We are joined now by Joy Krumenacker, who is a donor mom from Pittsburgh.
So Joy, I met you a few times, probably over the last 2 years or so now, through various events at AGH and with CORE, with you sharing the story. So, you're a donor mom, and for everybody watching that obviously means you lost a child, and they became an organ donor. They made that decision to be an organ donor and save people's lives through it. So what does being what does being a donor mom really mean to you?
Well, I think first, it's not ever the position that you expect yourself to be in. And as somebody who, through my line of work, just has an understanding of the importance of being able to wake up every day and have meaning and purpose, donation was a way for me to find that, to maintain a relationship with my son after his accident. And I think that, it's a way for me to stay connected to him. I often say that there is this love that is specifically designed for him, and it just swirls and swirls and swirls, and it has nowhere to go. And I think that organ donation and being able to do the work with CORE and even meeting you, it gives that love like a landing pad, right? It's a place for some of it to go. And so for me, I think not only does it give me, meaning and purpose, but it keeps meaning and purpose alive with my son's memory.
So Joy, Craig has obviously met you before and heard your story and Eli's story. I have not, and maybe some of the people watching have not. Can you tell us a little bit about Eli and his story?
Yeah, so I mean, man, what a kid. He, Eli wasn't an exceptional athlete. He wasn't an exceptional student. But what he had was like a really exceptional presence. And everybody who we have talked to, people we didn't know, they said that, he was just the kid who united everyone. When he walked into a room, everyone was waiting for him. Their faces would light up. A few weeks before the accident, he was a senior, and they were coming together to do their group senior photo. And I mean, it's like that textbook kid who comes running in late and slides across the floor and lands right in the middle of the picture as they're taking the picture. And that was Eli. I mean, that was just the kid that he was. He was a fierce friend, so loyal to the people that he loved, and really just interacted with people in such a skilled way. I think that people would believe that they were the only ones in the room when he was giving them his attention. He knew how to love people. He knew how to unite people. He knew how to just bring people together. And, after his accident, we saw that with the community. We saw his friends, the school district come together. And I think they really just did that in his honor. They took what they knew of him and they transformed it into something, something to honor him. Do you want to hear the story of how we got to donation? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, it was a Friday afternoon. He was coming home from school, and he took a turn the wrong way. One car accident. It was really bad from the beginning. But, I think because he was a young man, the doctors and nurses and first responders just had hope, right? And I would say probably about 12 hours in at the hospital, they just knew that there was no more that they could do. He just had far too much head trauma, but the rest of his body was perfect. So he was able to donate all of his organs. They have gone all over the country. The closest donation is 5 miles from my house, which is wild. One of the things I always said about Eli was that he would always stay really close to home because he loved it here. And I mean, he did. What are the chances that somebody is going to be that close, right? So we've been able to form a relationship with the recipient and his family. Yeah, I mean, that's his story. He's, you know, it's tragic, but you know, again, like I have said, donation has given me a way to, you know, it brought so much light into the darkness, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that.
Well, I mean, as if being a donor already isn't, you know, just such a heroic act, and for people to be able to save others after they pass. But it's actually really rare for somebody to be able to donate all of their organs. You know, usually it varies, obviously, if you get one or two or three that are usable and are able to be transplanted. So for Eli to be able to donate all of them, I mean, what a legacy, how many people he was able to save just by making that decision to be an organ donor. It's really incredible. You know, I work with so many donor families through my work with CORE, and I'm sure you've met so many donor families as well. And some of them, they want their privacy, and it's completely understandable. You know, it was a tragic event that took a loved one away from them. And you know, while they may acknowledge the donation, they really just kind of want to put everything behind them. And then there's others like you who get really involved, and you touched a little bit on it about how it's really been helpful for you. So, you know, maybe just go a little bit more. How do you kind of deal with overcoming that tragedy and just kind of, you know, I don't want to say turn it into a good thing, because it's never going to be a good thing, but how can you make the best of a situation like that?
I mean, you know, I hate to like plug like what I do for a living, right? But I'm a psychologist, and I have a firm belief in, you know, self-care and finding meaning and purpose. And I think that, you know, I kind of came into this situation like at a slight advantage, right? Just because of my training and my experience. And so I can remember like reminding myself, like, you like, hope isn't given to us. Nobody hands you a plate of hope. You have to create hope for yourself. And I think that that was something that I just, you know, at the hospital, after we had, you know, already signed papers for donation and we knew the trajectory, I think at that point, like, I just really settled into this idea that I had to find a new way to live with my boy. You know, I wasn't going to see his sweet little face, you know, come running down the stairs and pop in. You know, I wasn't going to be kissing him goodnight. I kissed him goodnight every night. Like, we would laugh, like, he's 17 years old. Why are you still kissing him good? And I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful I did, right?
Always a mom.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that, like, you know, just that gratitude, waking up every morning, and it's not easy, you know, it's not easy to wake up every morning without him. It's just, I have to remind myself how lucky I am to be his mother and the gifts that he has given to the world. And, you know, as I said to you earlier, what mom doesn't want to see her child make a difference in the world? And I can go to bed every night knowing that he continues to make a difference. I mean, I would rather have him, obviously, but I mean, this trade-off, you know, there's a lot of meaning. It's very powerful. And so, you know, being able to work with CORE, when you reached out to me, I was so grateful, right? Because of everything with COVID and not being able to do the work that we love to do in the same way. I think that, you know, this is my way to sort of make new memories with him, to be with him, you know, like, as I'm with the two of you now, like, he's here with us too, right? And so that's just the way that I approach this. How can I keep him with me every day beyond here, right? And this is one of the ways that I do it.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, your story with Eli's story is a perfect example of the kind of beautiful impact that donation can make, right? So Eli saved multiple people by making that decision of being an organ donor. But, you know, even beyond that, now his story and your experience as a donor mom has turned you into an active advocate for donation awareness here in Pittsburgh, and you get out there to hospitals and other community events and share the stories. And by you sharing Eli's story and talking about that experience, you're in turn, having other people make that decision to sign up, which means even more people are going to be saved by organ donation. So it's an impact that goes beyond what you can really measure in a singular number. So Eli has certainly left a large legacy, despite us losing him at such a young age. His legacy is going to go on for many, many years. I'm sure your relationship with the recipients that is going to be a special one for the rest of your life. So we're very grateful for everybody that makes that pledge, and I encourage everybody that's watching just to kind of think about that. And I'm sure Joy would echo my sentiments to, if you haven't signed up to be an organ donor, give it some thought, look into it, reach out to us if you have questions, and make that decision to give the gift of life. So yeah. Joy, thank you so much. It's always great to see you. It's virtually this time, unfortunately, but hopefully in the near future we'll be back up and doing stuff in the community together again.
I hope so. It was so nice to see you.
Take care.